Have you ever felt like you're performing your life instead of actually living it? Like you're stuck in a role, the smart one, the funny one, the calm one, because somewhere along the way, you learned that being you wasn't enough? This isn't just poetic, it's psychological. In early childhood, our brains are constantly scanning. What behaviors get us love, attention, and safety? So we adapt, we please, we perform. And each time we bend ourselves to fit someone else's expectations, our brain rewards us. A hit of dopamine, a sense of safety, social belonging. But here's the cost. Over time, we become strangers to ourselves. What we like, what we want, who we are, gets buried under the mask. Psychologists call this self-alienation. When your real self becomes disconnected from your present self, you might look successful. You might have friends, but deep inside, there's a quiet question that never goes away. Is this actually me? The brain doesn't like that question. It creates stress. It increases anxiety, and it shows up physically in fatigue, brain fog, and chronic people-pleasing. But here's the twist. Authenticity isn't just a nice personality trait. It's a biological advantage. Studies from neuroscience show that when you act in alignment with your values, when your behavior reflects your internal truth, your brain literally lights up in different ways. Regions linked to reward, clarity, and resilience activate. Cortisol, the stress hormone, drops, and your prefrontal cortex becomes more efficient at decision-making. Being real actually rewires your brain to function better. But before we can rewire, we have to understand the system we're working with. In Part 2, we'll explore the neuroscience behind why your brain resists authenticity and how you can trick it into helping you instead. Because your brain isn't the enemy. It's just been trained to protect the mask, and it's time to take it off. You'd think being yourself would come naturally, right? But the truth is, your brain is designed to resist authenticity, not because it hates you, but because it's trying to protect you. Let's break that down. The brain's top priority isn't happiness. It's survival. And in early life, survival means belonging. Back then, being too different could literally get you rejected. Socially, emotionally, or even physically. So your brain started keeping score. Each time you said what people wanted to hear, it took notes. Each time you hid a part of yourself to avoid conflict, it learned. And every time being real got you punished, ignored, criticized, or laughed at, your brain stored that pain like a lesson carved in stone. Neuroscientists call this predictive coding. Your brain builds a model of the world and then filters every experience through that model. So if the model says, being real is risky, then even years later, authenticity will feel dangerous, even if it's not. That's why you hesitate before sharing your true opinion. Why you laugh at jokes you don't find funny. Why you stay silent when your soul wants to scream. It's not weakness, it's wiring. But here's the good news. Wiring can change. There's a concept in psychology called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself based on new experiences. Every time you take a small risk and show up as your true self, you send your brain new data. Data that says, I was honest, and I didn't die. I was vulnerable, and I was still loved. I was me, and I'm okay. Bit by bit, your brain starts to update its model. Predictive coding shifts, and authenticity becomes safe again. But here's the key. You can't just think your way into authenticity. You have to practice it. Not all at once. Not in some dramatic identity reveal, but in tiny daily choices. Saying no when you mean no. Speaking up when you usually stay quiet. Choosing what you want, not what's expected. In Part 3, we'll go deeper into the psychological rituals and rewiring techniques that make authenticity stick, and how to build a brain that supports the real you, not the mask you outgrew. Because who you are is not a liability. It's the foundation for everything real, and it's time to build on that. Let's talk about what it really takes to rewire your brain for authenticity. Not just a motivational quote, not a one-time breakthrough, but deep, lasting psychological change. and it starts with a simple truth. Your brain follows repetition, not revelation. You might realize who you are in a flash of insight, but to live as that person, your nervous system needs new patterns. Let's break down how to create them. On micro-exposure therapy, but for your identity. In traditional therapy, exposure heals fear. Afraid of spiders? You start small, maybe a photo. Then gradually work your way to holding one. The same principle works for authenticity. Start with small truths. Post something you really believe. Disagree politely in a group conversation. Wear what actually feels like you. Each act is like emotional exposure therapy. It trains your brain to tolerate the anxiety of being real until it becomes safe. 2. Create authenticity anchors. These are physical cues or rituals that keep you grounded in your real self. It could be a playlist that brings you back to your essence, a journal where you write how you actually feel, not how you should feel. A simple phrase like, "I'm safe when I'm real." These are neurological bookmarks. The more often you revisit them, the faster your brain learns to link safety with authenticity. 3. Ditch the all-or-nothing trap. A major reason people give up on being real is because they think they have to be 100% authentic 100% of the time. But the truth is, strategic masking is sometimes necessary. You don't have to tell your boss your entire life story. You don't have to reveal your deepest truth to a stranger on a train. Authenticity isn't about oversharing. It's about alignment. Choosing, moment by moment, to stay true to your values, even when your words are few. 4. Rewrite the narrative. Most people live in a story written by someone else. Parents, teachers, society. Your job is to edit the script. Ask yourself, who told me I had to be this way? What am I afraid will happen if I change? What if being real is exactly what the world needs from me? When you ask these questions often enough, your inner narrator starts to shift, and that's when everything changes. Here's the real truth. Authenticity doesn't mean you'll never feel fear. It means you'll stop letting fear decide who you are. When you choose to be real, consistently, imperfectly, bravely, you teach your brain that it's safe to be seen. And when you're no longer hiding, you're no longer stuck. You become magnetic, clear, free. Because your real self was never the problem. It was the solution all along.